Hello, I'm Skylar Moore. This segment is on the securities laws. Every time you're raising money for a film project, or any project for that matter, you've got to worry about the securities laws. Why? One is, if you violate the securities laws, you go to jail. Second reason you care is that if you violate the securities laws, you have to personally pay back all your investors if they lose money, and most films lose money, and so you don't want to be the one that's personally liable to them. When do the securities laws apply? They apply anytime anybody is paying money and is expecting to get any money back. How do you comply with them? You have a choice. You either go to the SEC and register your offering in an extraordinary complex process that can cost over $500,000. Your other alternative is to rely on an exemption from the securities laws. That's what you're going to do, and you have to make sure that you comply with it. And there's only one exemption that you should rely on. You should ignore everything else. You simply want to rely on what's called Rule 506. Here's what you need to do. 1, all your investors need to be what's called accredited investors, which means that they have a net worth of over $1 million, excluding their home, or they have annual income in excess of $300,000, or they're an entity that has more than $5 million of gross assets, and they sign a document that says that they meet the requirements of one of that, and then you've got a valid accredited investor, and there's no limit on how much you can raise. You can raise millions of dollars. There are a couple of other things you need to do. You need to file Form D with the SEC, and you're not supposed to do advertising. There's a new rule that permits advertising, but I wouldn't rely on it because it has various requirements that are more difficult to meet. One other aspect of the securities laws that you must comply with is disclosure. You have the obligation to disclose all material facts to your investors, and the burden is on you to prove that you did. And the way that we do that is with what's called a private placement memorandum, a PPM, that can be relatively short, but it has to describe all material facts relating to your offering, at least a summary of your script. What's your budget? What is your distribution plan? Do you have a completion guarantee in place? Do you have distribution in place? What's your background? It doesn't have to be 100 or 200 pages. It can be relatively short, but you have to meet the burden of disclosing all material facts. And as long as you have done that and you've complied with 506 and you've done the disclosure material, then you've complied with the securities laws, and it is so important to make sure that you do this on all film financing.